Alright, today I'm going to be making ramen noodles with chorizo and egg. Absolute goodness. This is one of my favorite ramen noodle breakfast treats of all time. Absolute goodness. So let's get started. As you can see back here, I have a pot of boiling water that is boiling water. Alright, and right here I have the ramen noodles that I'm going to put in there. And I'm going to cook the ramen noodles for about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And the purpose of that is because I want to cook the noodles until they're al dente and perfectly for me. Alright, so what I'm going to do with this particular recipe, I'm going to take the flavoration packet, I'm going to add this to the water. And the reason why I do that is because the chorizo, beef chorizo, I've been practicing right here, adds a lot of flavoration to the ramen noodles and to the egg. So you don't need a whole bunch of flavoration from the chicken flavoration packet. So that's why I'm going to add it to the pot. I'm going to take this off and just go ahead and put it into the pot just like that. Absolute goodness. And you know what I'm going to do for even more flavoration? I'm going to add some garlic to the pot right back here. Add some garlic. Just take a little bit of that and put that into the pot just like that for more flavoration. Then I'm going to move this egg, put that to the side, or I don't need this side right here. I'm just going to go ahead and place this in here and let that cook. And put the crunchies in there as well. Meanwhile, I gotta get started with the chorizo and the egg. Now I'm gonna turn the pan on, and I'm gonna turn the pan on to like a medium high at first, and then turn it to about a medium or medium low. I'm just gonna go ahead and heat up this pan, and while that's heating up, I'm just gonna go ahead and place the chorizo, squeeze it from the tube. All right, comes out in a tube like this. And just place it into the pan. Absolute goodness. Alright, so let me zoom in right here so we can get the full scope of what's going on right here. Zoom in on the chorizo. Look at it. Smells great. I can smell it from right here. The chorizo. I'm going to take a spoon and I'm just going to go ahead and flatten this out. Alright. Flatten this out, and it's going to begin to cook. It's going to start simmering pretty heavily in a second. Chorizo has a lot of oil in it, so it will cook. It'll be popping a lot. You'll see in a second. While that's starting to cook, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to flip around the ramen noodles, let them cook. I want them to cook just a little bit al dente, and then I'll strain them and add them to the mix. First, we got to get started on the chorizo. As you can see, it's starting to bubble up a little bit. I wonder if I can get a little bit closer so I can give you the full scope of what's going on, what I'm talking about. It's going to start to bubble. You see the edges right there? The edges are starting to bubble. It's starting to heat up. It's going to start to cook really rapidly in a second. And of course, I always like to throw in a little bit of green onion, which I'll throw in a little bit after it starts frying. Alright, it's beginning to fry. I'm going to check on the ramen noodles really quick back here. I'm just going to go ahead and take the ramen noodles out and let them strain because they're at al dente. I'm going to take the ramen noodles out. And then I'm just going to go ahead and get started on the chorizo. It's starting to pop a lot. If it pops a lot, just turn down the flame, turn on the fire a little bit. See, it's popping at me. Just let that cook. Look at it, smelling good, smelling great. It's cooking nicely. Look at that. Smelling good. All right, it's spreading like that. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to clear a little bit in the middle, and I'm going to crack my egg. after I put in the ramen noodles, I take the ramen noodles, mix those a little bit in the chorizo, get it mixed really well. Absolute goodness. And I'm going to get a little place in the middle. Find a little place in the middle. Alright, turn it down low. Place a little bit of oil, like in the middle. Zoom out so you can see a little bit more of what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to place the egg right in the middle. And just let that cook. Now it's going to start to cook around there. It's going to fry nicely. Just going to move it around a little bit. Let me get in closer so you can see the egg actually cooking in there. Zoom in a little bit. Look, it smells nice. You can see it bubble rating around it. Look at that. The egg. Smell the chorizo. Just going to move it around a little bit. I'm moving the ramen noodles a little bit closer to the egg. Just like that. Smelling great, smelling good. Perfect for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All around. I'm going to come in a little bit closer. Come a little bit closer. And then I'm going to sprinkle some green onion on top right here. Now this is going to add to the flavoration tremendously. Sprinkle some green onion, and then maybe take some spicy sauce, just like that. Now look at that. I'm going to zoom out so you can see it really, really good. Look at that. Look at that. Smells good. Smells great. Absolute goodness, if you ask me. Absolute goodness.